the writer will take us to some other field, some other scope in the novel, اللي هو Men and Brothers. What we expect to see under this title, I think we are supposed to have some idea, something about the workers, maybe the factory workers, or some other people. So if you see here, the writer starts with something, with a quotation. Oh, my friends, the downtrodden operatives of Coketown. Operatives, the people who are working in Coketown. My friends and fellow countrymen, the slaves of an iron-handed and a grinding despotism. Oh, my friends and fellow sufferers. Look how the writer uses some words in order to highlight the suffering of the working people in the factories. And fellow workmen and fellow men. I tell you that the hour is come when we must rally around one another. We must group with one another as one united power. What do we expect? What kind of topics we are going to witness under such a kind of speech? يعني موجود شخص now and he is presenting a speech. So شنو يجي ببالكم now when we read these words? بعد غير الpolicy, some of the major issues we discussed earlier. We set a group of things at the beginning of the novel.
Worker class.
Yes, the working class and unities, well, kind of, let's say, unions that used to regulate the work of those workers. So I think we talked about the validity and the non-validity, the invalidity of these unions. If you remember, we said these unions were supposed to be...
Doctor.
Yeah, these unions were supposed to provide help, to provide care, to ask for what comes in benefit to the workers, but actually in reality they did not, and these unions and the union leaders did not work hard in order to serve their people. So if you remember the 4 or 5 points that we talked about, the Industrial Revolution, educational system, divorce law, workers' unions, and workers and the unions were one of the things that Dickens criticized and attacked in his novel. لأنه هاي unions were supposed to help the workers. كان المفروض أن تطلب أو تطالب بحقوق العمال في المجتمع الفيكتوري في تلك الفترة. ولكن ذول الأشخاص اللي هم leaders of these unions, they were easily bribed. كان من السهل على أصحاب العمل من رشوتهم. So they just do compromise things, and they do not do anything that could be of some harm, or could be of that could give some negative effects on the factory owners. So these unions are no more useful. That's why some workers اللي هم يكونون عادة honest, they do not join these unions لأنه ما بها أي فائدة للعمل. So we see a speech here. I tell you that the hour is come when we must rally round one another as one united power, and crumble into dust the oppressors that too long have battened upon the plunder of our families. We should destroy the oppressors, ذول الناس اللي يظلمونا, that long have battened upon the plunder of our families, اللي اضطهدونا وأذوا عوائلنا, upon the sweat of our brows, upon the labor of our hands, upon the strength of our sinews, upon the God-created glorious rights of humanity, and upon the holy and eternal privileges of brotherhood. So those workers are supposed to work as brothers, are supposed to be united just like brothers to defend their own rights. That's why we have brothers in the title. So here we seem to have a speaker who is giving a speech to a group of people, and later it turns out from these words that this person is Slackbridge. Slackbridge is not to be confused with Slurry, please. Slurry is the circus owner, and Slackbridge is a union leader, in the factory of and the mill of Bounderby, with whom Stephen works. The orator, the speech giver, having refreshed himself, wiped his corrugated forehead from left to right several times, etc. But oh, my friends and brothers, men and Englishmen, the downtrodden operatives of Coketown, what shall we say of that man, that working man, that I should find it necessary so to libel the glorious name, who, being practically and well acquainted with the grievances and wrongs of you, the injured pith and marrow of this land, etc. يعني أكو حكي كثير يصير. We go to the direct quotation. Now this speech, or this speaker, talks about somebody. What shall we say of that man? يحكي على شخص, that working man. So now there is a kind of a skirmish, كأنه مناوشة بالكلام تصير between those people. The assembly was divided at this point. المجتمعين. There were some groans and hisses, but the general sense of honor was much too strong for the condemnation of a man. الأغلبية مال الناس شبيهم, they condemned a man unheard, ما طلع صوته لحد الآن, did not speak. Be sure you are right, Slackbridge. Put him up. Let's hear him. جيبه هنا للمنصة, خليه يحكي, خليه نسمعه يتكلم. Such things were said on many sides. Finally, one strong voice called out, "Is the man here? If the man's here, Slackbridge, let's hear the man himself instead of you," which was received with a round of applause. So, as you see here, we can feel, and it would be made clear بس حتى أوضح الأمور أكثر in this chapter, that we are talking about the leader of the union اللي هو Slackbridge, and the other part اللي يحكون عنه هو Stephen Blackpool. They try to condemn him because he is not joining them, he is not leaguing with them, for certain reasons that Stephen keeps hidden. We will know about these ideas later. So now they requested Stephen to come and talk himself. My friends, by virtue of my office as your president, now you see, he is the president now, I, ashes of our friend Slackbridge, who may be a little over hater in this business, to take his seat while this man Stephen Blackpool is here. So هنا نعرف انه الشخص اللي we are talking about is Stephen Blackpool. You will know this man, Stephen. You know him all along of his misfortunes and his good name. My friends, Stephen began in the midst of a dead calm. I have had what's been spoken of me, and it's likely that I shall not mend it, but I had laugher, and you would hear the truth concerning myself from my lips than from any other man's, though I never could not speak before so many without being murdered and muddled. Here Stephen wants to explain himself. It seems that we have a problem, and Stephen is supposed to explain to the general audience, the workers, about why he is addressed by Slackbridge as a person who is isolated, who is considered lonely maybe. Slackbridge shook his head, if he would shake it off, in his bitterness. I am the one single hand in Bounderby's mill of all the men here, as don't come in with the proposed regulations. Now we understand why he is shunned. ليش they يبعدونه. He is not working according the regulations of the unions in Bounderby's Mill. I cannot come in with them, my friends. I doubt they are doing you any good. Liquor, they'll do you hurt. So هذا justification why the speaker started his speech addressing Stephen as a person who is being kind of danger to the workers in the worker union. Stephen did not join the union, as he explained in these 4 lines, and he cannot go or abide يلتزم regulations of these unions in Bounderby's Mill لسبب معين. He said, my friends, I doubt they are doing you any good. أنا أشك إنه هاي اليونيونز ما بها أي فائدة، ما راح تقدم لنا شيء جديد. وكي أيضا يأكد بأنه they will do you hurt، ممكن تكون مؤذية أكثر من ما تكون مفيدة هذه اليونيونز. طبعا ليش الموضوع هنا تشوفون أنتم ممكن تبين لكم هسه الصورة جدا naive, very simple, but unions at the Victorian time, at the Victorian age, at the time of coals and factories والثورة الصناعية وكثير, these used to make a huge part of the society. تعرفون أنه the people of the society are all, majority of the class are workers. So these workers needed a kind of unit that could regulate them, that could call for their own rights and duties, that could govern them. So جدا مؤثرة. ما أعرف إذا تتذكرون كانت عندنا اتحادات احنا طلابية سابقا، يعني كانت تنظم عمل الطلاب وتنادي بالحقوق والواجبات وتعمل على كثير من الأشياء. So it's just like a league، وكأنه هي اتحاد ينظم عمل ذولا الأشخاص. But it was very important. Its role was very significant at that time، لأنه هي مصدر المال بالنسبة للفactory owners. So leaders of these unions were not in favor of, they were not working in favor of the workers، لأنه كانوا يختاروهم factory owners يعني and choose them to suit their own benefits and interest. That's why هذا اليونيون بدل ما يكون فد أداة جيدة للمناداة بحقوق العمال، تقليل ساعات العمل for example, pay raise, ارتفاع الأجور, putting some rules concerning the workers, concerning the underage workers، ذول الأطفال أو الصغار بالعمر. So these unions were supposed to be doing a very important role in promoting the conditions of those workers. But يعني, in reality, they did not. That's why they are the subject of a criticism. Just like the educational system which Dickens criticized and attacked in the novel, just like the divorce law which also Dickens attacked, and just like many other issues that are the subject of the novel. So it is as important as the educational system, as the divorce law, as the workers' conditions, as many other issues that used to keep the society busy and distracted and suffering at that time. So they are very important. Now it might not be important to us because we did not live that age, but for those people at the 19th century, 1850-54, the time of the publication of the novel, people were suffering a lot and they needed some help for them. So this is the point, and now we can not blame Stephen for leaving that kind of union, because as he said, unions were supposed to help us, not to destroy us. And as far as they are not presenting any help, so why would I join these unions? هذا كان المبرر الرئيسي, beside other justifications that we will learn later in the novel. So Slackbridge let the man be heard. Let the man be heard speaking, and how they tongue. Then the place was wonderfully still. My brothers, said Stephen. Now Stephen is speaking, whose low voice was distinctly heard. And my fellow workmen, for that you are to me, though not as I know on to this delegate here, I have but a word to say. عندي كلمة أقولها, and that I could say no more if I was to speak till strike of day, till the end of the day. I know well all what's before me. I know well that you all resolve to have no more to do with a man who is not with you in this matter. Of course, you don't want me to get involved with you because I do not agree or approve the unions. I know well that if I was lying, perished, هالك, in the road, على الطريق, you would feel it right to pass me by. تجتازوني وما حد يقدم لي مساعدة. As a foreigner كأجنبي أو stranger غريب. What I have gotten, I must make the best on. يعني هذا الفلسفة مالته اللي احنا معتادين عليها. Think on it again, think on it once again, lad, before thou art shunned by all the friends, all your friends. فكر من جديد بأنه تنضم لهذا اليونان قبل لا أنت يتم استبعادك من قبل جميع أصدقائك. I have thought on it above a bit, sir. I simply cannot come in. فكرت هواية وما أقدر أجي. I must go the way as lays before me. I must take my leave of all here. So this issue is made clear in this chapter. Then Stephen foreshadows something. I hope I shall die ever before such a time comes when, and I shall work solitary among you, unless it comes truly I must do it, my friends. He started giving some notes about some kind of death, or he's going to die, or he's going to leave somewhere. So Stephen Blackpool fall into the loneliest of lives, the life of solitude among a familiar crowd. Now he has been kept away, he has been shunned, نقول عليه إن تم عزله من الworkers, and just like a stranger in the land who looks into 10,000 faces for some answering look, but he does not find any answer. هذا سببه لأنه هو ما كان يوافق على عمل اليونيونز وأدائها بالظروف مالتهم. He had been for many years a quiet, silent man, associating but little with other men, and used to companionship with his own thoughts. يعني هو من القديم كان isolating himself. The first 4 days of his endurance were days so long. كانت أيام طويلة عليه لأنه ماكو أي contact with any person, and heavy, that he began to be appalled by the prospect before him. Not only did he see no Rachel, حتى Rachel, the girl that he used to love, he held her at a distance in order not to be troubled, حتى ما يصير لها أي مشاكل. And then at the end of the chapter you see, now we understand what is Stephen's standpoint. How did he consider this issue? What kind of decision he has taken concerning the unions. Bitzer, the servant of Sparset, came, asking him to visit Mr. Bounderby. In this quotation, you are the hand they have sent you to Coventry as Locke. The very light young man in question, Stephen. Yes, I suppose so. Mr. Bounderby wants to speak to you. باكر تجي زيارة, and you just mention your name as Stephen. You are expected. هذا محتوى الman and the brothers. الman and the brothers. Of course, the title might seem ironic to you because those were not the brothers. The workers, they did not consider Stephen as a brother. Otherwise, they considered him as a stranger because of his point of view. So we had an idea about Slackbridge, who spoke at the beginning, and the mill owners. the speaker who is addressing the audience and encouraging them to keep Stephen away unless he joins them in the union, and how Stephen considered the unions and how he justified not joining them, which resulted in his being isolated, and a planned meeting with Bounderby that will take place in the next chapter. This is the content of this chapter.